Okay, welcome back to Forte and Goal, guys. Guys and gals, I should say, right? Not good for me to be too presumptuous. Um, GOAT. What does that actually mean? Well, we're talking about the greatest of all time, and the narrative is that Tom Brady is the GOAT. Now, contrary to many people's belief, I totally disagree. I think the reason people even put him in that GOAT status is because unquestionably he's had more success than anybody has had. And we're a quarterback driven league, right? Everybody gives credit to the to the quarterback. Everybody blames the quarterback. So it's always about the quarterback. Yeah, he's the most important player on the field because he touches the ball all the time. He's responsible for making the most decisions, and those decisions can be, great, and they could also be bad. So yes, the quarterback does deserve a lot of the credit or blame, but it's not always about that. It is a team sport, and everything's connected. That offensive line protects the quarterback and when he passes, and without the protection, that quarterback can't do much. We saw that last year with Tampa Bay beating up an offensive line that was pretty much decimated from the Chiefs. We saw Patrick Mahomes running backwards, and coming close to making a few plays, but for the most part being rendered useless. This is what a quarterback is without an offensive line. So again, everything's connected. But I digress. The reason I'm doing this video is because I want to talk about the game against the Saints in Tampa Bay. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on their division rival. This was a couple of weeks ago, the New Orleans Saints. This is a Saints team that's also devoid of a top-notch quarterback. Not even Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is, hurt for the season. They're going with Taysom Hill. They have a guy, Ian Book, who we got a look at the following week, and he's not ready for prime time. He reminds me a lot of the DiNucci experiment that the Cowboys did last year. So here the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are with one of the top defenses in the league going after Taysom Hill, going against a team that doesn't have a great wide receiving core, has a good tight end, has a definitely above average, definitely in I would say a top 10 offensive line. So they have a good offensive line. They have nothing much at receiver. They have a very good running back, with Alvin Kamara. And they have basically a journeyman, not even a journeyman, that's the wrong word because he hasn't been any place, but they have a stopgap quarterback, now that Drew Brees is no longer there. And this is what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to face from the Saints in Tampa Bay. And yet, they were able to move the ball, able to kick a few field goals, able to score 9 points. But the GOAT, at home, with, at the beginning of the game, Godwin, Evans, Brait, Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, an equally good offensive line, and a dominant defense, were not able to score any points. I forgot to mention the Saints have a good defense also, mostly the front seven. Cornerback-wise, I think Lattimore played, I'm pretty sure. But devoid of Lattimore, you've got Jenkins at safety, and that's pretty much the strengths of their defensive backfield. So really it's their pass rush, their front four, and good linebackers that make the Saints defense a formidable one. So they're a good defense too. So I got to give them credit. This is not, all about how bad the Buccaneers played. But you're the GOAT. You've got weapons. You've got Fournette. You've got Ronald Jones at running back. You've got, like I said, a top 10 offensive line. You've got, one of the best receiving cores and tight end groups, if not the best in the league. And by many's account, it's the best. You go into the game and your offensive line gets beat up. You, Mr. GOAT, can't make the adjustments. As smart as you are, and you are smart, and you get rid of the ball fast, you cannot screen your way out. You can't throw the bubble screens out enough. You can't get rid of the ball fast enough to make plays, not get sacked. Okay? You got sacked 4 times in the game, threw 1 interception, put your team in field goal range 1 time, and that field goal was missed. Hats off to a great game plan by the Saints. And yeah, they had a little bit of luck because, during the game, if you haven't watched the game or you don't realize it, Godwin got hurt. And by the way, previous to Godwin getting hurt, he was targeted 4 times in a row. There's a reason he's considered the favorite receiver, is because he's playing that slot role, and that's a very important spot for any team that Tom Brady's on. So Godwin is already a phenomenal wide receiver, but you put him in a position where he's going to get a lot of targets. Yeah, he's going to take advantage of him, and he's mostly done that through the season. So he gets hurt. Then a little bit later, Mike Evans gets hurt. And then a little while after that, Fournette gets hurt, and Fournette was getting lots of targets. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the Tampa Bay team is the team that passes the most in the league. They pass a ton, even though they might come across sometimes like they're going to run it down your throat. They're really not a running team; they're a passing team, and for good reason. Look, they've got good receiving, weapons. They've got great tight ends. They can do it. Why not? Yeah, you got Tom Brady. Why not? You should be a passing team. But, they still get the ball to Fournette, either running or passing, quite a bit. So they lost a lot of their weapons, but they still had the tight ends. They still had Gronkowski, Brady, O.J. Howard. They still had a former starter, Ronald Jones. Okay? They still had some good wide receivers. Okay? There's no excuse, okay? You're supposed to be the GOAT, but on the other side of the coin, your counterpart, Taysom Hill, put his team in position to score 3 times against an equally good defense. And I say equally, we can go check the stats, but there's not much difference. I mean, both teams get after the quarterback. Actually, both defenses are about the same as far as how they're constructed. The front 7's strong. The back end is not as strong. Okay? If anything, the back 7 for the Saints is maybe a little stronger. But that's kind of neither here nor there. You're at home. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, that's really my message. It is embarrassing that people call this man the GOAT just because he loses his weapons. Okay? He can't generate enough offense to put some points on the board. I'm happy they lost. In all honesty, I'm happy they lost. But it just illustrates my point that he's really not the GOAT. Look, he's not mobile. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, he fumbled. If I remember correctly, he fumbled. And the reason he fumbled is because he tried to run. Tom Brady, stay in your lane. You are not a runner. Don't fake like you are. Don't try to be. You're not a runner. Should have been protecting the ball. So, you got Mr. GOAT. Can't run. Doesn't have the strongest arm. Okay? Is older, frail, very frail. And he's never been one to relish or to take contact. And let's be honest about that. Not to mention, he is one of the most sore losers you could meet. I remember there was one game, I forget with who, he didn't want to shake the other team's hand. In this game, He was throwing the Surface, the Microsoft Surface laptop. He threw that into a trash can, which, of course, the NFL spoke to him about. I mean, come on. GOAT? Not. That's my message. Sticking to it. Out.